Welcome to Raymond James Stadium, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers snapped their four-game losing streak and beat the Tennessee Titans 20-6. And honestly, that 20-6 score looks a little bit tighter than how the game actually went. The Buccaneers dominated Tennessee. First, let's talk about the defense, because they're coming off a performance where they gave up 39 points to the Texans. They hold the Titans to 209 yards of offense. Derrick Henry barely did anything. They sacked Will Levis 4 times, so they were able to finally generate pressure on the quarterback. Calijah Kancey, another game with multiple tackles for a loss. He's the first rookie to do that back-to-back weeks since a guy named Micah Parsons. And on top of that, they had 1 interception. And Lavonte David said after the game they should have had 5 interceptions, that they need to get back on the jugs machine. So the defense really night and day performance from what we saw in Houston. That is the formula, because when you generate pressure on the quarterback, when you have the quarterback rattled, that helps your secondary out. Even with Carlton Davis not playing due to a toe injury, they look a lot better because they don't have to hold their coverages. Devin White egregiously said 15 to 20 seconds. He was exaggerating, obviously, but I think you understand his point. Offensively speaking, not a great game. 0 for 2 in the red zone. They should have had a touchdown. Mike Evans dropped one of the easiest touchdown grabs he might have had in his career. No one around him. And it's tough to really blame Mike Evans for much, because he had 6 receptions, 143 yards. He got a touchdown later in the game off a big reception. So Mike really stepped up with Chris Godwin, who was sick as a dog today. He played through it, had about 50-plus yards of offense himself. But there was just a little... Again, it's one guy making a mistake here or there. Mike Evans not only had the drop in the end zone, he had a drop on a 3rd down. Trey Palmer had a drop on a 3rd down. There were 7 penalties again. They're just not clicking on all cylinders. So while they were able to pretty handily do what they wanted to do against the Titans, they probably should have scored way more points, maybe into the 30s, if they just would have executed. So the rushing attack took a step back. After what we saw in Houston, they only averaged 2.7 yards per carry. Sure, they had 77 yards on the ground, but when you're rushing it nearly 30 times, that's not great. So you're eating up some clock. That was good because the game script called for it. But, man, they really didn't generate much outside of a 9-yard gain from Chase Edmonds. Rachaad White was out there picking up 1, 2, 3 yards. White had also a monster 43-yard touchdown on a screen. Tremendous play. I think he called it an alert after the game. So a lot of things went Tampa Bay's way. Still wasn't necessarily a perfect game offensively. Special teams looked pretty good. Jay Camarda not as great as a punter today. And then also the defense was excellent. Right up there with the Bears and the Saints game for one of their best performances of the year. Holding an opponent to 6 points is the lowest amount they've done since the season opener last year against the Cowboys in Dallas. So now Tampa Bay will head to San Francisco, a team that just throttled the Jaguars 34-3 in Jacksonville. And mind you, Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, they're healthy, they're back playing. So this isn't the 3-game losing streak type of Niners, right? They just came off a bye, they're healthy. You're going to get their best punch in their building, a place where the Bucs got throttled last year. And the Bucs defense has to now play an offense that looks very similar to the one they saw in Houston schematically. So I don't think many are going to predict the Buccaneers to win that game. I checked the lines before this contest. They're going to be a double-digit underdog in San Francisco. But being able to snap the losing streak and having the Saints lose, that's big. So they're very much in the NFC South race still, despite the up-and-down performances. And they're just going to have to close the season strong. This was a good start. We'll see what happens next week against the Niners.